Hi, welcome back to the Addicted Family series. This time we're going to be talking about the family bond. What keeps the addict using? What system is intact to enable that process? We've heard the word enabler, I'm sure, many times in your life, and you've probably even heard the term codependency. And them do apply, but we're going to break it down a little more and to see how it actually applies to you. I'm going to ask some basic questions and just ask that you, as you said and watched this video, that you would ask yourself, where you're at with this. Do you have an enabling system? Usually about 99% of the time there has to be an enabling system there for the addict to continue to use and function and live. Unless they become their own enabling system and typically go to jail every time. Now, that doesn't mean that, or the grave, I should say, that doesn't mean that you won't go to jail or the grave or an institution, mental institution and or a treatment center, which is an institution also. That just means that you won't have anyone to come in to see you because you've probably burned every bridge there. So I want to ask you a question. Do you live with a family member? If so, what is that about? Is that a significant other? Is that a mother, father, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle? And if so, how do they feel about you using alcohol and or other drugs? They call it AOD. Do you live with a significant other only? And if that's the case, what's that relationship like? Does that person kind of feed on trying to fix you when you have problems? Does that person go along with it? Do they nag, or what is they call it? Do they give you a lot of crap over your using, but always take you back? Or are they pretty well done with you? If you're watching this right now and you're incarcerated, are they done? Have they told you they're done? They've had enough, and that happens quite often. So with that said, I'm going to ask you, if you did answer yes to any of that, any of them questions there, has your significant other and or family member ever given you money? Or have you stolen money from them? If so, have you paid it back? If not, do you intend on paying it back? And if not even more, have you stolen, which is a key factor, because many of us, when we are using, we usually steal from the ones closest to us because we feel safe. We feel like they won't get us in trouble. They won't call the police on us because it's them, and they love us. And so we manipulate that love and use that to our advantage when we're using. Are you employed currently? And are you at a job where it's a daily pay job? Are you working for, and please, I don't mean to stereotype, but are you working for a tree company, a landscaper, a roofer, where it is a day job? You get paid daily, which enables you to continue to use daily. Not that there's anything wrong with any of them professions, but you have to look at the validity of it. Are you insured legitimately? Are you on the payroll, or are you paid daily? If you get hurt on the job and this happens, you're on your own. So these are some things to think about as far as the unmanageability of your life of use and addiction progresses. As we've talked about before, addiction is progressive, is a disease. It is progressive and fatal, like any disease. If you do live with a significant other, do they have income, or are you, supporting them? And if so, do they go to Al-Anon meetings? Do they go to therapy, any kind of meeting with you if you go to a 12-step meeting? Do they go to church? Do you do anything to support your recovery, if you will? Do you do anything positive in your life? Are you a couch potato and drinking beer when you're not working and or using out in the street? Something to think about. Do you have close family members that use, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, moms, dads, or does everybody in the house you live in use? That is a key factor. Environmental plays a huge factor in our ability and or inability to use or stop. Therefore, if there's using going on around us, we've heard people say people and places are real applicable. So with people and places being powerful, if I'm in a family environment where everyone is using, I'm trying to stay clean, I'm going to struggle a lot. If I'm in a family environment where everybody is clean and I'm the addict and everybody supports that process of me doing the right thing, that's a good situation to be in. But this is why, moreover, counselors will recommend halfway houses and or long-term treatment, because typically that's not the case. Typically, if there's an addict involved, and we've talked earlier about the family roles in the other sessions, within that role system, it's difficult for you to stay clean. It's even more difficult for them not to continue to enable you, because the broken wheel we talked about, it may be a lopsided wheel and it may turn kind of crazy, right? But the thing is it still turns. Even if you're pulled out of it and there's a temporary hole in it as a flat tire, it will continue to turn until that hole fills itself, someone else moves into one of them positions, and it starts turning again. So if you go to jail, if you die, you end up in an institution, the wheel will adapt and the wheel will continue to turn because the family is so used to this. They don't know how to react to you getting clean and sober. You've heard the things, I liked you better drunk. You were nicer when you drank. Well, that is a family member's subconscious way of basically sabotaging your recovery process. They are used to this broken system, even though it's an abnormal system, as they call it, dysfunctional, even though it's not a very healthy system at all. That's what they're used to. And just like the old leather coat that you put on, when you've got a newer leather coat, the old leather coat is comfortable, right? That's the one you're used to wearing. You'll put that one on before you'll put on the new one, because you got to break in the new one. So the family wears the proverbial leather coat all the time because it's comfortable for them. They don't like change. When you go into a restaurant, you usually sit in the same place. You usually order the same thing. If you go to a church or a meeting place, you typically sit in the same place. We are creatures of habit. So when people get into the habit of fixing you, they have a hard time breaking that cycle. They are literally addicted to you. And that's pretty deep stuff when you think about it. Do you have any friends or family members that are in recovery? Do you have some positive, we call them lethal weapons. Do you have some lethal weapons that help you stay clean and sober? They said change one thing. Everything is what we've been taught in recovery. That means that everything has to change with your living situation. If their enabling system's intact, that means that everything has to change with your friends, your playmates, and your playgrounds. It's difficult if you don't have anybody that's in recovery that you know. However, it can also be a fresh start. If you're changing everything and all these new people that you're getting introduced to are positive people, they're not negative Nates, negative nannies, they're always gloom and doom. Oh, why me today? Oh, blah, blah. Always looking at the bad side of things. When you get around people who are always seeing the positive side of things, then that will literally change you. It'll sharpen you up, and it'll be a big difference in whether you're able to stay clean or not. I want to move on to the final question in this short video. Who is your chief enabler? Who is your chief enabler? Often I hear people say, I didn't have one. It was me. I had a guy say that when I was doing a session at the jail, and he said that, but yet we narrowed it down to the fact that his uncle always, being a big business owner, always takes him back as an employee. Therefore, and it's a good paying job. Therefore, no matter what, he knows no matter how much he can mess up, he's always got a job to go back to. Therefore, his uncle's his chief enabler. He can always make $25 an hour, no matter how much he goes to jail, how many laws he breaks, uncle will always hire him back. Doesn't care that he's got a record or anything else. That's his chief enabler. Typically, as we said before, it's a mom, a spouse, a family, one of the family members, a sister. And a lot of times, it is a whole environment we're in. The whole environment enables that. Like we talked about with the addicted family, the whole environment enables my addiction or your addiction. Personally, my whole family enabled my addiction. Everybody was addicted, but I was the worst one. So since I was the worst one, the ones that are messed up, that are addicted, put the focus on me. And that they might have a drinking problem, but me, I'm this, and wow, at least I'm not like him. So it's the old defocus factor. That's what we do. We defocus off ourselves. It's very important to keep the focus on me. In your case, on you. Keep the focus on you. Don't worry about what Jerry's doing over in your cell or Jerry's doing at the meeting or wherever at work. Worry about what you're doing. Very important to not focus on others. That's what people talk about in different churches and so forth, that they feel like they're being judged. They are being judged because you're judging them and they're judging you. It's a human nature thing. But when you move beyond that and you say those that judge don't matter and those that matter don't judge, and you say that little cliche in your head, say it. Those that judge don't matter and those that matter don't judge. When you say that over and over and over, typically you'll find that you're the one that's doing the judging. So when you catch yourself doing that, say that cliche. If somebody's looking at you and you feel you're being judged, say that cliche. It's very powerful. It's the little cliches that will help save your life, the just for today, the keep coming back, all these little cliches that you hear in recovery, they can help save your life. With that said, we're going to move on to the next series. Thanks for tuning in today.